Today we're going to discuss when seeing the forest and the trees leads to a $1 trillion question. It was late, 3:30 in the morning, and I was working really hard, and an email came through from Business Insider, and it was an article that said top product exec bolts, referring to Gokul Rajaram from Facebook. So he was leaving Facebook and going to Square, another hot startup, and you see that in Silicon Valley when at some point when the companies go IPO, some of the people start hopping around to another startup. One of the key things that they discussed in the article is the fact that one ex-Googler described Rajaram as someone that sees the forest and the trees. And that kind of struck me with the old saying, which is seeing the forest through the trees. Obviously, I have sometimes tendency to mess up on the sayings, but this time I didn't do it. And kind of got me thinking, it's like, okay, you know, that's actually a cool way to think about entrepreneurship and as well as innovators within the industries, is that when you're an innovator or entrepreneur, all great entrepreneurs have the ability to see the forest and the trees. And so from one perspective, you have to rise above the top, you have to look down, you have to see your vision, you have to see the big picture, but by the same token, you've got to roll up your sleeves. Well, in this case, I don't have any today. Roll up your sleeves, delve down, and start planting the seeds of innovation one by one. And that's the magical thing about being a great innovator or entrepreneur. So you have to be able to look at it from above, go down, start planting the trees, go up again and see how your forest is looking. And the cool thing about it is when you're building your own forest, you kind of know where you're going yourself, so you can use those routes to your own advantage. But one of the things that led from this entire conversation in the article was that they talked about his ability to create great ad products. So while at Google, he was also a product director of AdSense, which is a phenomenal engine for Google. In fact, that's the engine that makes all the money for Google. And what struck me was the fact that they called it ad product. And from my perspective, if you're using a freemium model, which is you're offering your service for free, you have to consider two things. One is you have to think ahead, so when you get to the point where you have 1 billion users, that you already kind of have things in place where you can incorporate an ad product within your system. And the other thing I would really actually like to reframe you from thinking is the fact that ad product is really not a product. It is a monetization engine, for heaven's sake. So if you reframe that perspective from the development side of the equation, then you can start thinking about how do you incorporate the monetization engine, in this case advertising, within your freemium model so that you don't turn off the customers. I can tell you right now that on my Facebook page, it kind of gets irritating to see sponsored ads and all that, but I've got to live with it because we're using the service for free. And so this leads me to another question. What is really going to happen to Facebook 5 years from now when I'm advertised to death between my personal posts and pictures with all kinds of ads that are supposedly highly targeting me to my tastes and needs? That's a $1 trillion question. Think about it.